literally hoping that all are doing great and feeling well. Um, Basically, fortunately, we've got a time of rain going down in the city I'm at, which is nice. Got some refreshment to cleanse us, and hopefully wash away all the stress which has been going down over the past couple weeks, months. Uh, so well, hopefully we can keep up this positive energy and mindset to keep me straight. Although there is very chaotic situations seem to be pending and holding our mind. Really, again, this was an impromptu stream. I thought I'd just get up here for a while and um, express the feeling and get some vibrations of positivity and hope some people will can resonate off this, get some thoughts provoked, um, and really just get their mind off some stressful things and just steer away from that for at least half an hour, and try and feel some happiness back that we did have, which was only, um, you know, we were we were like in this space. Just imagine where you were this time, s- let alone 6 months ago, but this time last year. We were all in a mm, I'm sure much brighter position, looking forward to um, a lot of things that was going to be happening in this year. Thinking that 2020 is a year of dynamic change, for the greater, and the shift in the movement, um, which it still very much is. There is a much evidence showing that, so it's what you make of it. Are you going to let yourself fall into the trap of the crisis, or you're going to try and stand above it and rise, be the best way you can, and stand strong where you are at. So, um, you know, obviously, to all the people out there who are going to hear this and are with us, again, sincere vibrations of that nobody is personally affected in any way, you or your loved one who uh, are going to be contracting any illness or in any sort of way having a problem with the COVID online, um, and maybe the only interaction hopefully will be just what you see on the TV, and hopefully that is very minimal too, because every time you seem to turn it on, it's just like worse and worse situation, which is not something new, I guess. Like every time you turn on the news, you realize that I guess the mainstream media has fallen, ratings have fallen a lot over the past couple of years due to this fact, because it seems like it's just information of war, really just unnecessary stories. Like it might go from a massive war which has 100 casualties, or a bombing incident with many casualties, to then a story about a dog that crossed the road in front of a school or something. Uh, but what's going on now with all the talk of basically hospital shutdowns, and you know not only hospital shutdowns, but the just the amount of chaos that is going on around the place. Like so we've got a couple. There's a link in the chat if anybody wants to come up. I'd be more than happy to. I mean, all input is welcome to have a discussion. Really, it's just an impromptu thing I'm coming through with, and I've got to give acknowledgement to all the give acknowledgement to traditional owners of this land that I'm on. of this country, and also acknowledgement to all ancestral lineage, personal, and to those who are viewing. May they be blessed. So we'll go on, continue with that. So, I mean, what I was coming to with the point of the kind of misinformation we're hearing, I just came across a video of another Australian streamer basically getting onto the point of, you know, how this seems to be a false narrative. So, um, what I'll do, I'll bring it up, and obviously, all rights would be reserved to this gentleman. I won't completely view
Hi guys,
view
hey.
this, just for the audio. But as you can see here, it's basically breaking up a point of, um, it could be the sign of this conspiracy of the elites that have been controlling for so long, and their plans of generations ahead just coming into play. I mean, it kind of makes sense now. If you heard me streaming, like in the past couple of days, I have come to say a few times, like, the country of Australia is only a couple hundred years old. 1800s they came to colonize it, and actually was actually from this same tuber which I feel like was came across the information, and it really triggered the thought of why. So basically, this was a very barren, bare landscape, with the indigenous culture living here being, not nomadic, but they would live off the land and have their areas and such and so, and there was no um, huge mega architect structures as they were in Europe of the time. Now, see, so basically they came in the 1700s, and I mean the late 1700s and early 1800s, but then in the time of 30 years they had developed these huge 12-meter, like, I mean, huge buildings with 3 levels, and each level having a 12-meter tall room. Now, with a town of only 3,000 people or so. So really, to what point was that required? That's really a lot of overkill. But that kind of, to me, pointed out the fact of the ongoing foresight and plan of these, the colonial states, the people that came to create this colony of Australia. So from the British Empire, they came, made this, and they had the, it was in their side that this was going to be here for thousands of years. It's been a couple hundred years. It's now fully developed. But there you go. So if you can understand that point through what I was saying, it kind of does it just provokes that thought as to why um I mean, I kind of answered it, I think, to myself, is because of that actual whole, the higher uh fraternity groups of some universities graduates, and the high law firms, high political, high bankers. They kind of may have their points of their viewpoints on life may have a stronger sway. But anyway, into the outcome more than we really know, and what we hear, and what it could be very much dulled down information, and also very much polished up information to make us think in a certain way. But just to get on with this little thing you see here, in 1720, obviously in Europe somewhere there was a plague. Um, and then exactly 100 years later, in 1820, they had a cholera outbreak, which would have, had a huge effect on the populations of countries affected, and had a mass reduction in, you know, the number of humans causing huge amounts of deaths, hundreds of thousands of deaths. Another 100 years later, in 1920, affected by the bubonic plague, which I think is also known as, I think in 1918, the Spanish flu. Um, or yeah, it was basically, I saw another stream which was um, highlighting the fact that this 1920 bubonic plague, or the Spanish flu of that time in 1918, was the worst of the 20th century, the worst to date tragedies of this pandemic. Now in 2020, we have a coronavirus, which is supposedly killing thousands of people, or well, killing people daily, and it's got to a point of thousands of people. Um, this was the first little skip it that he had. So basically, if you to read, it's in Italy, sorry, which is probably the most affected country at the moment that we're hearing about, who've suffered the most uh, deaths and cases of infections. But if you die in Italy of anything but happen to have COVID-19, they record the cause of death as COVID-19. So a previously terminal cancer patient dies with COVID-19. Cancer is not the cause, COVID-19 is the cause. So this is obviously a way that they can increase the statistical numbers of to see how many people will die. Like, I mean, obviously this person was terminally ill. He was going of cancer. He was on the way out and probably only had a couple months to live, but then may have been infected with this disease, COVID-19 or the virus, but it wasn't the absolute cause, because it was just another factor which led to his immune system giving up and passing, or this person's immune system and passing. So, you know, the terminal cancer which was previously diagnosed was probably the major cause. Now, even in that, to saying that, where does that come from? That most likely comes from radiation and the foods we are eating. Uh, you know, that could be definitely argued. So that's a different topic altogether. But that shows you to the people who are supposed to be looking after us, and governmental organizations, I guess, which have graduated, supposedly educated graduates from universities of high curriculum, or of a tertiary standard, and even have to have majors, masters, and doctorates. Like, they're coming out and spilling this information. So basically, to get to this, I mean, I'm thinking, oh, well, not to get to the information. Like, these people are the ones to say that, okay, health. I mean, the foods with such ingredients are fine if they have a certain amount of toxins and such as that. Like, I mean, any amount of toxin to me really should be, it's unfit. And there's lots of cases where certain countries haven't taken to products. I think Australia is one of them. Australia and New Zealand have been one to say no to a lot of GMO products. Although we do have I'm sure we have our fair share, but there's been some sort of talk about that. But back onto the subject, we're here. So I mean, this little um, clip it, or this snippet of this PowerPoint image here, or whichever it may be, just it'll show, like, it makes me think that, so this pandemic has come through now in 50 years, or not even that, in one generation. The people who are to be born at the time, if this is all they are to see, then they're just going to see, oh, in 2020, so many people died of this COVID-19. when really I'm sure the percentage would be quite a lot less if they were to take this proper statistic into case and say that this man died of the cancer rather than the COVID. So, you know, that's uh, something you should think about. Now, this is actually something which really was interesting. Um, you know, it's quite shocking. It was a bit scary, but like, this is obviously somewhere in a very developed country. You've got a military man with all their uh, protective um, equipment, masks and such, to avoid contact with such viruses. But now, what does it look like they're doing? Oh, I guess there's another gentleman in the back here. Oh, maybe not, and can't really see as clear. But main point of this is very shocking. Now, these guys are going to all such effort. It is being filmed, photographed for specific reasons. But let's just have a look here. Like as he's highlighted, this is supposed to be a dead person. But if you are to look closer, um, if you just have a flash by, you'd think, okay, yeah, that's somebody on a stretcher. But it's kind of, you can see here with the joint in the or the wrist, and the shape of the elbow. Even you can see there's no real uh, definition or intricate, individual marks to make it that a human would have. So, and to draw back a little bit, if you see his face, so basically, this is a mannequin. This is a dummy, a mannequin. So maybe all the retail stores are out of business because they had to give their mannequins into this crisis sort of situations. Maybe that is the situation. I'm not saying, but this is just something that come across and is kind of uh, intriguing. Um, yeah, much peace to all those in the chat. I'm just checking out. So J My, peace, brother. Much welcome, more than welcome to come up and have your say if you wish. But I'm just going through some, a bit of an impromptu things which I just saw from this stream. So basically, and here's another one. The top photo here is from an IC intensive care unit in Italy, which was from a week ago. Now, obviously, I see it. Unfortunately, I can't zoom in with on, but hopefully you can on your device. But yeah, basically, it's kind of like spot the difference. And it would be very hard to spot the difference because it seems like there is none. This looks like exactly the same image. We've got a surgeon in the scrubs here, another doctor or nurse, surgeon, whatever it is, in the uniform, the blue scrubs with everything else just fitting in. It's exactly the same picture. The patient there, desk there, everything just fits in. But this is supposedly from Italy last week, and the bottom one is in New York, an intensive care unit in there. So, hey, that's just we can't, either there or no, but and then here's another one, similar thing, a cropped picture, two different events. This was saying of obviously yesterday another 319 deaths in one day. It says, trying to bit of, I mean that information in itself uh, is shocking and shouldn't be taken lightly, really. So you shouldn't be blamed if you are to be worried about it, I guess, or have some thoughts of hesitation, even, or just, you know, obviously that's, there is a uh, maybe a thought process behind it, which is, and that's the thing. And then to see this predictive thing, I mean, I do have a personally, not to say it is the whole truth, but I have a, it's passed my mind that this sort of run out that's going on could be just it's just a little taste, and it's that the people who are, say, if this, is a people pulling off such acts, they're just running a test as to see the reaction of the community, who is prepared, who is ready, what will be, um, and then to see if when they just to be able to predict the reaction of the community if a larger crisis comes through, or even to say that having everybody indoors, um, could be a total reset to structural things outside, like just that we just won't notice because nobody will be around. But they're just some thoughts that I like, not to say if this is just my opinion. So, but it's pretty much that at the moment it's up in anywhere anybody who's to say what is the right, because we've got things like mainstream news media outlets, which have been the reputable place to go get your information for decades upon decades, um, are now sort of coming up with what seems to be questionable, material at the least, which, some allegations of it's false. So, I mean, this basically of the now, they how basically CNN. I think hopefully I could play a little bit of this audio just for commentary reasons to show you um, the situation that's happening in New York. Like, they've closed down. It's happened here in Australia too. They've shut down the hospitals. And my mother and sister are in the medical. My mother's retired now, but it was in the medical field, and so she basically, I asked her the question of why have they taken, why is there nobody in the hospitals are empty and things, and her answer to that was so they can prioritize and have room for these cases and stuff like this, and not to have people exposed to infect people. But that was part of her, just like, it wasn't even a preparation, it was just an impromptu asking thing. But maybe that is the case, or maybe not. I mean, we'll go to see here. This is somebody who's posted a Facebook or Instagram, and she's obviously upset because she's heard from the news outlets people are lining up to get tested for the virus, or some people are seeking help. And basically, if we'll get to it, she's there. She was there for an. I'll play it and see what she says.
On the block down there, they're all parked. They've been there for an hour. You mean to tell me no one's calling people? Give me a fucking break. Come down for yourselves to see, people. Yes, it is Elmhurst Hospital. Here you go. You see the sign that says Elmhurst, Paul? I ain't fucking lying. Where are all the people? Where are they? Where are they? I'm bullshitting.
So as you can see, she's quite upset. So she's outside of the hospital. She said that she'd been there for an hour, and basically, there was nobody there, as you could see. Now, this is the report.
In Elmhurst, Queens, that hospital there, lines of people lining up already this morning for about the last 45 minutes. Confirmed cases, people waiting to get tested. Supplies are in demand there. And our CBS News' Rena Roy is live outside Elmhurst Hospital in Queens with more on the situation there. Rena?
Well, Chris, as you said, Elmhurst Hospital is really at the center of this crisis here in the city and in the country, with doctors desperately trying to keep up with the growing number of patients as supplies dwindle. You can see barricades behind us set up here outside of the hospital to keep order here because so many have been lining up every day to get tested. As you said, some of them.
Actually, that was quite interesting. She had a big swallow before she said that comment, which is I think, what do they call it? Like body language that say that the person is not too confident about what they're about to say, or they're coming to basically lie or so. So that's another interesting thing I just noticed. I'll go back a bit.
Have been lining up every day to get a growing number of patients as supplies dwindle. You can see barricades behind us set up here
Right
outside
there.
of the
So
hospital
the supply's dwindling and things like
to
that.
keep order here because so many have been lining up every day to get tested. As you said, some of them showing up about 45 minutes ago, as early as 5:30 this morning.
Okay, so really, this was the same hospital which the previous lady had, been there for an hour and quite upset during the daytime to see absolutely no one in the line. Now, these news outlets or media outlets are, the way they're portraying it, saying there's so many people waiting here in line, for hours. People are desperately waiting to seek help, but really, up there is something which is written by the vlogger,
Most of them
and
wearing
that's their
masks here in the
opinion. So, but to me, I'm just counting. I don't count like too many. There's probably only maybe 30 people, 40 people, 40 people maximum,
of all COVID-19
if that.
cases in the city.
So
At Elmhurst Hospital, lines of people.
it's quite strange. This is probably another day.
A refrigerated truck has now been brought in here.
Right, so and there we go. There's another interesting thing. We'll take it to here. I will show another one. I don't want to do too much content of basically doing this stream, but if I hit it, here it is. Oh, here it is. So this shows this. I don't know what this is basically. So, the mainstream jumped on this content because this gentleman was very upset, and he was, basically it's. We'll just watch this for a little bit.
Right at Brooklyn Hospital. Y'all, this is for real. They put the bodies in 18-wheeler, y'all. Please stay inside. This is for real. This is no joke, y'all. This is for real. This is for real, y'all.
You could hear the expression in his voice, and he was on the verge of tears there. But this is the same truck, supposedly.
Body.
Now, also, the news outlet was saying these freezer trucks are full of bodies, and they've been having to call in these these freezer trucks which used to transport probably produce and things like that from state to state, but now they're having to be called in to take bodies away. So I'll just wait until the end of this to point out another point. Excuse the language.
This is full of dead bodies. It's like a load.
Right. Good point, though. Why make this a public show? Or really, this is, there's really no need. If this was the situation, there should be respectful with those bodies and get them, treat them with dignity from their sake and their family's sake. With respect. But this is kind of the kicker. See, he's really overwhelmed, but this is supposed to be, there's not enough space for these dead bodies, right? So these things are to be full. There was only about 3 or 4 outside, on the pavement, on the sidewalk. But this gentleman wanted to show us what's going on. But maybe it was a little bit to his detriment, because he's explaining that there's a few bodies in the back there, and if they were going to take the ones on the sidewalk, it wouldn't even be a tenth to filling up this container. Not even no way. It wouldn't even, because a tenth of the floor space of this container. So if you were to stack them up high, it'd really be only about a very, very small percentage of the room in the back of the container. So, there's just some stuff which is pretty interesting, thought-provoking. I thought another image of empty hospital lines, like
line to get tested for the coronavirus. Right here, this is where the line starts. And folks, I'm here to tell you, at this very moment, not a single person is in line waiting to get tested. This is the emergency room. And you would expect, if you believe the mainstream media, that this emergency would be overflowing with people. And as you can tell, there are no people here.
So, yeah, that was just pretty self-explanatory. And this man is doing the same thing. He's hearing the media saying it's all emergency. Went down to take a look for himself, but at that point in time, nobody was there. So, it's quite interesting. So, I mean, I didn't really even. This was just quite thought-provoking to me to see such situations that's going on. Like, I'm not really following mass media at all, but I kind of probably should be more on top of issues because of what really is happening. There is a major shift going down with just I will do a couple more. What is it? What does it say? And we'll leave it. There you go. This is the first where it was April Fool's a couple of days ago. Not to, it's just maybe. Here we go. There's another lady. She's gone to a hospital.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Thank you.
Looking for the
Have a good.
looking for the patients, just trying to point out.
Or go down here. Go this way.
But
Okay.
then she's been told by somebody to
Have a good one.
keep moving on. She said, "Where are it's displayed there? Where are all the people?" So it's an empty hospital with supposed increasing rates by the hundreds by day, but where are the patients? I mean, there's one gentleman here, one person in the waiting room.
I think that clock is stuck there.
So, I mean, it's not to say that it's just here exactly as I said. It's just a thought-provoking thing because it's really, we should be informed with the answers. We should have the right information. Why are we given information which is to lead us around and around, or just cause disruption and cause so they can have a divide and rule sort of element to the society. I mean, and that goes back to the beginning point where it was saying that maybe this is an agenda and plan of these things. These people of these in power of the banking, the high graduates of who take these positions of power amongst these organizations. Their agenda, and they're not looking at the picture to say, okay, what's going to happen within 6 months, what's going to happen within next year. They're looking within what's going to happen within 30 years, what's going to happen within the next 10 decades. We need to get this stuff done within this year so that we can then have this thing happen within the next 5 years and continue on. They're really, they're looking outside the box in a very broad sense. It's, and they're dedicated to this. So it's about their uh, their ideas and their ideas of what the world should be, but also for their particular children, and that's instilled within them, and it continues. And it goes both ways. So that's for people. We need to realize this and try and like they're fighting for what they believe in is right, and obviously they have a lot bit of sway, but maybe they don't, or maybe like that could be just an illusion. But they do, the banking monetary side behind it, but maybe that power is false in the sense that if we do all stop and come together and use the power of the mass in the way of not complying or maybe not engaging with the retail or the just things like that, it'll just shut down their revenue and it'll have to give way for a change. Now, this will be the final bit of this one. It was somewhere. There's obviously the other ones were in America. This is the situation in somewhere in UK, in the United Kingdom, England.
I'm filming this now. The police will look at your communal area, my building, and you're lying to us, spreading fear, telling us that this man died, and he's just been down there and saw that he is not dead. He has just been taken to the hospital by the police. He spoke to both the police and the homeless man. That man was a bit drunk. He asked him if he was okay, and he was fine. This was 5 to 10 minutes ago, and now you're coming up here, spreading lies and fear and telling me this man is dead, and he is not dead. This man is not dead. Take them letters, take them somewhere else, because that man is not dead. I've been feeding that man. Wait. He's lying.
Right, so obviously we've got these two gentlemen from a, as they go on, what did they go on? They come from a corporation.
Until you find out if this man's really dead and prove that, then you need to stop putting these letters on there. Can I just...
He says it in a minute.
Can I ask your name?
I'm
from One Housing. You're from One Housing. Can I ask you?
One Housing. So they've sent these people out to put the letter underneath the other tenants' door that there was a gentleman within the building that passed away from this COVID-19. Now, obviously,
this man's dead, and this man is not dead.
Listen to what she's saying.
We have just seen the police take him to the hospital 5 minutes ago. You are liars. You are spreading fear for no reason. No one died in this building today. Nobody died. Yeah, I have let you respond, and you've stood there and lied. You have. Okay, no. You're in my building outside my door, causing fear amongst my community. Okay, go on. So show me who died.
She was being assertive and well within her rights, which is like kind of, which is good. That's great. Like, this is what we need. And I was actually discussing with another person today about another issue where you can get onto the phone, just say you have a problem with a phone plan or something, and you get onto the phone and you talk to the call center, and the call center the assistant says, "Oh, unfortunately, we can't help you." But in reality, the laws and legislations require the business, to most likely, follow through with what you're engaging with. So what I'm trying to get at is you need to go past that point and say, "No, I'd like to speak to your supervisor." And even if the supervisor is to say no, go beyond that. I mean, and the furthest point is to go to the ombudsman of your country or something like that. And, but which is something that we really should do, because we're well within our rights to do so. And a lot of the time these businesses realize such things, and they, once they realize that we're well aware of our rights, they kind of step down, and they just trying to come across and push onto people who think that, oh, okay, just because they're from the company, well, this must be just the way it is and it's got to go like that. No, they put it in a way where the option is there for you at all times, but they don't really present you that fact. It could be in the fine print. So just to continue on with this for a little bit longer, the first gentleman that was in the rear of the camera, you can't see him now, he was very defensive. Now this man kind of shows you the backpedaling of how these people will never admit their wrongs, but try to explain the situation.
It's legal. I'm illegally allowed to speak. Go on. I did.
No, you didn't. Can you stop filming this?
No, go on.
Right, in that case, no, I thought
I can film. Go on. I'd like the answer.
So we'll just
based on what report we had.
What time did you get this report? Can I just ask?
about a couple of hours ago.
A couple of hours ago, but we've literally saw this man taken away 10 minutes ago, healthy.
Fine. Now that you've told us that, we'll go.
Can I ask who gave you the report that this man was dead?
It's fed from one housing.
From one housing. One housing told you that this man was dead, so you came around in your suits to spread fear amongst. Look at them children in there, and you're spreading fear amongst all.
There you go. So, I mean, did you see the way that he basically was, to come and say, that's fine. Like they said 2 hours ago, they were advised of this person's death. But then she was to say, oh, no, I saw him 5 minutes ago and the police just took him away. But this company had this plan to learn up 2 hours ago, this had been passed out, and then he's very quick to say, well, okay, if that's the case, then basically we'll be out of here. But if she wasn't there informing to be so assertive, these people would have continued on and basically, gone through and basically, just gone through, did their supposed job. And then there would have been a whole, basically the majority of that housing building would have been kind of in worry, in more fear, because they would have been worried somebody had passed away. But that's kind of, as you can see, what's the word? False information, because that's just kind of weird. Maybe that whole thing, just thinking now, it's like a whole crisis situation that's put together. They got somebody of a lower socioeconomic class, and like a homeless man, probably, or alcoholic. Or actually, maybe not alcoholic. He said he was a bit drunk, so maybe, someone of that who fits into that category, and then to get the authoritative police to come along and who are supposedly the good guys in everybody's eyes, and then to get them to come along, take him away, all hush hush. That guy, really, the homeless fella, doesn't have much, any assets or lawyers, anyone to speak for him. Very easily, I'm sure, and probably lacks confidence. That's the fact that he's probably in this position where he's at, and they could easily just have that narrative go across, and that would be the end of the day. And it would have been, okay, that man passed away from the COVID, and now this area, this building, has now got to go under quarantine, and it just leads to more and more. And then that kind of leads back to the fact that I was saying showed in the beginning, how in 1920s they had the plague, and then 1920, in the 1720s they had the plague, then 1820s I forgot, there was another epidemic of I think it was it cholera, and then in the 1920s it was the biggest pandemic of the 20th century, the Spanish flu, or bubonic plague, and now exactly 100 years to the day, or to the year, 2020, 1720, 1820, 1920, 2020, we're all facing these huge pandemics. Now, I don't know if that's like coincidental, planned, or whichever way it is, but it's quite thought-provoking, and it really triggered me to come and do this stream. I'll probably I won't stay up for much longer. I'll be maybe unless someone comes through, but much appreciation to all those who have come through. Hope you hit the like, share, and all that. If you've got any questions, comments, or anything you want to hear about, just drop it in the chat, and I'll bring it up, or even can try and screen share and Google all that info. But yeah, looks like we got a couple more people in the house. So I don't know if you missed it. Yeah, go on the replay. I was just thinking I'll go back to the title, so we'll come back into you know, are you sick of Corona, or has Corona made you sick? So, you know, I guess yeah, both ways. That kind of falls onto itself. Like, I mean, I kind of had to say, like, you know, have you fallen ill, or are you just like over this situations that we have to go through? Like, I don't know if everybody who's listening is on lockdown, or whether they are still allowed to work as continuing as normal, or their shops are continuing as normal, whether they're able to go for walks as usual and just do their usual routine. Like a lot of people, you know, especially over here in Australia, we've been told to, it's, what is it, isolation, distance isolation, or something, safe distancing from people. So basically, to stay 1.5 meters away at all times. Even, you know, when dealing with the going to the shops or something, or you know, and that's basically everywhere. So, and like, so crowds, with no crowds more than 10. To have, you can't have a gathering more than 10 people. Public, if you're going for a walk, you can only, basically that's two. So that's your, you know, your mother, I mean your partner, you and your partner. Yeah, so like it's just pretty, like, I don't know, just the lengths that things are going to. It's just like, it's just, yeah. And I don't think anytime soon, within the next, say, 2 to 3 weeks, even months, I'm definitely, like, you know, that there will be a change, even a rapid, you know, like a change, like there'll just is for things to return back to this. Well, I don't think they ever kind of will. I was about to say normality. I was thinking the times previous, so just the time, like, as I said before, where were you 12 months ago from this point, or even 6 months ago from today? Like, everything was kind of, uh, everyone was looking forward to to 2020 and having this year of, and being a great year to stamp their brand and make themselves established for the decade to come. And now we've been hit with this, which may put us back, or put a lot of people's plans back for a year or so, or more. Like, it's like 6 months. You're unsure, completely unsure. So, like, you know, we've been on hold here for a month or two, but they're saying, hey, you know, we can sort of keep it in this midst now, but like, I'm sure in 2 months' time, these, who's to say what's going to be like? What's it going to be like? Insane. Like, you know, I think, personally, I think it's just, we got a lot of steps to go before things calm down. Like, but then even in saying that, to what normality? I think there's going to be a huge shift. You know, like, I can't explain what it will be, but there's definitely people in these positions. If you're not in a certain position, or you're not engaging to establish yourself in that position, I think it's going to be quite hard to maneuver, and it'll just be that little bit extra, you know, because I think that the people who are in position at the moment, and they see who are doing what, they'll try and keep it in that correlation, I guess, like, because they obviously, with the system that is, you know, they need divide and rule. So you also like the constant battling, the constant confusion, the constant chaos, and how it's fueled by, I guess, if you follow the money trail, a lot of the times you'll find that it's fueled by the same corporation or same thing. The whole idea is spawned from them to create such issues, to just to create money, really, so that their industry will continue, whichever it may be, banking, arms, like firearms, military, technology, all that sort of things, and even media, social media, all the it's huge, because that in itself, that's another point I could get onto. I think the way that we've kind of locked down, and now even that it's been a couple of months, you can now see things such, like former podcasts and things like that. They're now doing it from home, and they're using things like Zoom, StreamYard, and trying not to let it interrupt, because they aren't able to go to the studio together, but they'll do it from their room and do their presentations. Now, to me, when I see this happening, it just makes me think that it's kind of, this is the now, this is what they're trying to push, so that we won't have that engagement of humanity, and so we don't go and how we used to go, be close to your neighbor, just be close to the person that you walk past, be close, and have that morals and feeling of conscious thought, you and have feelings and emotions. Now, obviously, if you are to just have a life of complete, because if you're born into a life of being a digital realm and not have any experience of that, so I mean, that's these people who are born from, I guess, 2005 onwards, or even later, that people from 2010 onwards, that they knew nothing of society prior to that. So they could what's the word, that's all they'll know. So this is their whole ideal of life and humane. They will lose that humane sensitivity side, because it's all a digital, it's a realm. It's kind of like the person's persona, personality, feelings, and everything is all through, not a facade, but it's through a digital scape, and you don't see it all. They're obviously still people. They need to rest, they need to eat, they need to sleep, and they need to go to just all do all the humanly functions and things like that we need to do. So, but it takes it away, and people can't see it. So really, I think it's a kind of a bit of a reset to do that, to see that all communication will be done in such way, and it won't really be triggered by how it used to be with the communities and things. It's really kind of everyone will just be, it's a thought that does hit home, and it kind of makes sense that and I've always thought that it's like the social media internet, it's just creating a totally different, it's like a digital reality. It's a false, not a false, but just another sense of something, which is, what we were born, but then we can people can make an identity of who they want to be, and it could be very falsified. Obviously, not all of them are, but there would be a lot of people who just exaggerate and compliment things a bit, and I guess that's business, and a lot of people have been doing that. But I think sincerity and honesty is the key to every relationship. Every relationship, being from your parents to your siblings to your partner, no doubt. Like, if you're not honest, things will build up, and it's just going to fall into a bad situation, really. Whereas if you're honest from the get-go, you could have worked it out and had some sort of compromise, and then everybody wouldn't have to go through such trauma. That could have been avoided, really. But it's just the way we're, and maybe could be a bit too naive and a bit too like, hey, why can't we just all get along? Maybe it's beyond that point. But yeah, I mean, but that's a definite, like, it's going to take away from the reality of, that's just, yeah, that's a huge one. I should let's probably do another one, on that thing, but it's definitely true. You're going to see, like, just, yeah, children with no empathy and compassion for another human, because all they'll see it as is just like a digital identity. They won't see it as that, that's another human being just like me, kind of thing. It's like, because the interaction and, repercussions that come from those actions aren't so much felt, as personally as, it's pretty, because it's not felt personally, because they could just turn the device off in a snap, or they could change the photo, change this thing, and it's just like, that's not real. And unfortunately, a lot of people are probably getting bullied nowadays at school because they don't fit into that, class of, they're not the one with the popular Instagram and all that. I mean, I could imagine that. I'm not going through school now, so I don't really know, but, it's just, but hopefully, I'm sure bullying is just a part of life, and those are the people who are very insecure most of the time. They've got insecurities on themselves. They look for weak people that they can prey on. Like a lot of people say, weakness can be I mean, kindness is mistaken for weakness, but not even in this case. Like, the bully is probably just picking on someone because he can, and obviously, if he gets stood up to, I mean, if somebody puts their foot down and says, "Hey, this ain't happening today," that's when the bully kind of stops and respects and is shocked, I guess, because his thing didn't go to plan, and that's what's required, really. So, we are getting bullied around. Who knows? And I think we are. A lot of people with a 9 to 5, and not to blame them or anything, but it's just like, you got a 9 to 5. You're going through all this stress. You got to pay tax. You've got to feed your family. You got to feed yourself. You found that this is the only way, and things. It's like, I don't know. To me, it's understandable, but like, I've gone the other way of like being a creative, where it's your own boss. You're 24/7. You can make. It's up to you to make whatever you want to make. You can. You reap the rewards that you sow, pretty much. You know what I mean? Like, if you're out there working, grinding, and creating intellectual property, which is kind of going to hit home and be, what's the word, kind of like, just have a lot of impact and amongst people, so that it can build your brand's popularity and awareness of it. So like, so yeah, that's basically why I see that. So a lot of people, if you're in your 9 to 5, then you're working for the boss and somebody else, and your hopes and dreams. Like you might think, oh, I want to rise in management, and I'm waiting for a couple of years, but then a couple of years happens, and the other person gets the promotion, and you don't, so you get more bitter. But I mean, I'm not saying trying to be negative or anything. Like I pray that doesn't happen, or my vibes are that it doesn't. But in reality, that's a majority of people. They're on that 9 to 5, and they come back. They want to unwind, and I guess that could probably be another reason for people wanting to escape in this digital realm and create a different identity. Like I was thinking previously, I was thinking about the really young generation born from like 2005 onwards, or 2010 onwards, who are only going to grow up with devices and social media accounts as basically that's how you know the person, that's their identity. So you take that back, and you could say someone born in the 50s who didn't have, who wasn't so happy with their life or whatever, because they took the path of something, I don't know, whatever it was, just something that they were unsatisfied with in that took course in their life, which didn't allow them to do what they were passionate about or follow their dreams. This gives them a chance to now falsify that image, kind of, that, and it'll be no truth to it, because they'll have a 9 to 5, which is what it is, whatever, but they're not going to put that forward on their stream. They're going to come home and put an image of, like, I don't know, like something completely different, and it's just that's the way that they can find some happiness, I guess, in their life. If like they come home on unwind and just want to snap and talk up to people, then let it be. But I think that's quite petty, because you should be mature, much older and mature, and realize that, and teach the younger generation something better about the step, how to move step right. I'll just introduce Raphael Flat Pain Sanchez, and I'm happy to have a guest.
Hey, what's up, Sonray? How you doing,
bro? Good, bro. Fucking good. Glad to have you here.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man.
Easy. How's things on your side? Obviously, you're traveling. Are you going to work still, or?
Well, yeah, I work in a restaurant, so I'm still deemed essential.
Okay.
So they still got us working and stuff like that. They still got us running around. But what's crazy is where I work at, it's part of where it's the containment area. It's New Rochelle, New York, where, it was on the news and everything. And they still have us working and going to work and all that stuff, which is, to me, a little kind of messed up. Because it's one of those, work till you drop, basically,
Yeah, like, I mean, that's what I thought too, because these essential places, like, you're having a much higher risk because you're exposing yourself. You're having to go outside and deal with public even.
Yep.
So, but is that thing? I saw something where it's like people have to line up, and you can only serve one at a time. One person comes into the restaurant. What's your restaurant going like?
Well, for mine, they're keeping everybody at minimum 6 feet apart. Nobody has to line up yet, thank God, because we're not that consistently busy where we're packed and everybody has to line up to get food.
Yeah.
But when you drive by groceries and supermarkets and all that, there's literally in a supermarket of 400 square feet, there's 2 people inside and 100 people lined up around several blocks.
Whoa.
Because they have to be 6 feet apart.
And they're trying to get their groceries and essentials, man. That's insane.
And some grocery markets, what they're doing is they're giving you a half an hour time limit to get your things and get out. That's insane to me. you got to come in and get your stuff within half an hour and run out. And I get it, is to give the next person a chance, but it's getting to the point where, you know, you can wait 7 hours just to go pick up some milk.
Right. And what if, like, in that little time span, you know, like, something happens, you have to go pick up your kid and you don't get that, or, you know, things don't happen. So
Yep,
it's pretty much, really, what's that word? Just refining the schedule of the human being and saying, all right, you got to be really refined and robotic like this. Pretty sad. Maybe not robotic, but they're just putting in the actions that way, you know? Because to say that you can only go shopping for half an hour, shit, man, fuck. Oh, also takeaways too. Does your restaurant do the takeaway? Because a lot of places around here, the restaurants are open, but they say we can't have dine-in. We can do your takeaway.
Yeah, we're not doing no dining at all. Everything is takeout. And what restaurants are doing, and I guess I can give thanks, you know, to the Most High. Only the managers are working. We had to lay off the entire staff, and right now the managers are doing the cooking, the cleaning, you know, the cashiering. All that is only solely management.
All right. So the task, shit.
Yep.
But then you guys are coping because obviously the business has gone down. But still, it would be a lot harder. You've got to multitask.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
shitty.
At one time while we're working to make sure that we're completely running the business. Because if we can't run the business, then we don't have the job anymore. Like, this is literally the last option for restaurants, is where they lay off the employees and just keep management working.
Yep. And there's, that made me think of two things. Like, I mean, people that are sort of going check to check, right? Like, you know, that makes it very hard because, you know, most people lost their job or whatever, and now the management's having to do this. And unfortunately, as you said, you still got yours. But just thinking that you got to wear different hats, that's probably going to lead to, like, people cutting corners in their tasks in a way because, you know, they don't have the time to do it, or they got to get to their customer, but that thing, they got to wipe down the table still or something, you know. So absolutely, and that's the first thing I thought of when we said we had to lay off all the employees and it was just going to be management. Because when you think about it, if we're serving food and we're taking care of the customers in the front, we have to have people cooking and we have to have people taking care of the guests. There's only 5 managers in the entire restaurant. It's me and 4 other people. So we all can't work 7 days a week. We only work 5 days a week. So there's days where there's only 2 managers, one in the front, one in the kitchen. Now, we can't expect, you know, a cleaning to be done as if there was, you know, 5, 6 people. When the manager's already been there for 11 hours. Now he's got to clean the entire kitchen. And front of house,
exactly, in the front of house as well. And these are the things that a lot of people who are not in restaurants or don't understand how restaurants work don't understand, is where we get fucked. Because the big bosses are going to come to the restaurant and still say, why aren't these things being done? Whether or not what the situation is, they still want certain things done. And it becomes a challenge because you're trying to take care of everybody in the front, and you're trying to make sure you're following all health guidelines as well, because that's another thing you got to watch out for. What the health department now is doing in New York is they're popping up randomly to restaurants to make sure that nobody's diving in and everybody's still following regulations. And that puts a lot more stress on the restaurants, because now you got to make sure whether you're not using a certain, you know, equipment, you got to make sure it's still running and it's still clean and it's still good. Because God forbid you do get the health department come in, they will shut you down for something you're not even using.
Damn, mate. And I'm just thinking it's like there'd be people who probably couldn't, I mean, they wanted to do the right thing, but they couldn't get the access to the product or something, and then but they had to, they stayed in business, and business was still hygienic, I guess. But then these people come through and just shut them down for something, which is kind of just fine print in the regulations. That's really
Check this
unfortunate.
out. It goes a little deeper too, because now with the restaurant, and like you said, with supplies and stuff, we have to order cleaning supplies. Now the people we order cleaning supplies from, they're not open right now.
Right. So what is he supposed to do?
Exactly. So we have to make, runs to the Costco, the BJ's, the big name chains that sell supplies in order to get this stuff done. And that costs us more money on the side, because with big restaurants, we're in contracts with the cleaning people. So we've already spent a certain amount of money in order to keep receiving this product. And now we can't receive this product, but that money is already spent.
Oh, wow.
So now, with in budget wise, that puts more strain on the restaurant now, because now we can't spend money on this. We got to be careful with this. We got to be careful with that.
Holy mud! Do you know how long that contract they were supposed to be supplying you for?
I believe they do a year or 2 years. Every year or 2 years they do it. And the year we just either began the year, so it's either this year it's up, or we just started the year on it.
Gee. That's insane, mate. And then at least you were able to still find that same product, but I totally get what you're getting at, because these people are coming to your store on a contract regular basis, and it's like they're going to be there at that time, they're going to drop it off, it's going to be easy. But now it's like I can't find it at this shop, I've got to go over here, ring someone maybe to see if they can get it. But I was thinking that maybe you've got to even make up your own concoction of disinfectant and stuff, like you mix bleach with water or dilute it, or just so you can clean it.
Well, we do a lot of that too. We run to the grocery store and get a lot of bleach, because the thing is too, what a lot of people don't understand with restaurants, and especially a restaurant that is operational and then they close it down for quite some time, there's a lot of sugars and flavored things, and now that it's getting warmer, fruit flies start coming out like crazy.
Yes.
And you in a restaurant, you gotta be on top of that, because if fruit flies overrun your restaurant, you lost your restaurant.
Fact. Who wants to come and eat in a place like that? Yeah.
Mhm. And then when you were talking about,
you've lost your restaurant in the sense of the health department people coming through.
Oh yeah, if they find the New York regulation is more than 3 live fruit flies, they'll shut you down.
What about
they play
roaches?
No game? Roaches, 1 roach, and you fail the health inspection, they close you down. I think it's for a month, and then they come back and reopen you up and give you another inspection.
Right. I think, that's quite interesting, because I remember being at Pizza Hut as a teenager working, and they, through the soft drink machine, if you press the button to get something out, because they were all those pre-mixed things, right, and they're chained up in the back, there's these little cockroaches there. You press the drink, and sometimes the little roach would come out of the drink. It would, that's
all bugs love that shit. They love the syrup from the soda.
Yeah.
And that's one of my biggest things. My biggest things is making sure I've been in restaurants almost 20 years. So I already know what to look for and where to look for it. And those are my biggest things. But it's a big challenge when you're doing, like I said earlier, you're wearing 7 different hats.
Yeah. And so then, what? This situation is gonna they haven't told you. They said it's gonna be like this for an unexpected amount. They just said they don't know when it's gonna go back to regular staffing.
Their exact words were, "We're doing this day by day."
Shit.
And that's the part that sucks, because every day something changes.
Yeah.
So what New York City is doing is those who are deemed essential workers, I believe they got like a 30 to 40% raise increase, right? What my
Okay.
job did, and they played it smart. They didn't give us the wage increase. They gave us an extra day off. So instead of working 5 days, this week we just started working only 4 days.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So money
I
comes
rather
to
work
table.
yeah, exactly. So where they don't have to spend the extra money, but they still pay us the same as if it was 5 days.
Yeah.
And then that would be their turnaround to say, well, we started giving them 4 days off and we paid them for 5, so we were giving them the extra pay.
Yeah.
When in theory, that was just our normal pay.
Yeah. Wow.
And then when you were mentioning earlier about people, you know, who were living week to week, you know, in a lot of cities, you know, big cities, especially like New York, you know, you have thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands of people who live week to week
Oh,
and
yeah.
who need that paycheck.
Majority of the population is like that, man. Like, I think it's like 90% of like, I don't know. I think I heard it from America. I don't know about here. It's like they don't have more than $1,000 in their savings account, like legit, because they can't. They'll check to check, and they got the children to feed, and they can't amount
Pay
to
their
save
bills,
too
and
much.
that's it. And
So,
those people who are living those week to week, that first week, they're crushed.
yep,
They're
absolutely.
completely crushed, and that's where they're now turning the middle class straight. We're not even going in levels. We're just going from middle class straight to poverty.
Yeah, facts.
Like there's one free fall drop, just boom.
Wow, and that was like actually something that I think. I don't know where it was from, but yeah, like a lot of people saying now there's no middle class. It's just the rich and the poor, the haves and the have-nots, man. Like, shit, eh? That's kind of the easiest way to bring it in by doing this.
Yep.
Like, if you're, someone's teetering on the edge of the economy, and they're trying to do the right thing. That's kind of that's the bit where it gets a bit twisted. Like, they were born and they were just trying to live, and the government's saying, okay, go to school, work, pay your taxes, we'll look after you, don't go to jail, rah-de-rah. And so they try and do all these things, but in doing the actual, doing it by the book, they're unable to get a step ahead. And then when the crisis kicks in, they're the first ones to be targeted. Whereas people who are not, who are like going outside not following the rules to say, and they're like, what's that word? They're doing the things, but not by the book, and they're not getting caught. So they are able to sort of have that buffer when they did the wrong thing, but they got a 10K buffer there now, or something like that. But that's that.
And now that you say that makes me think more about how they're dropping everybody down. We've been talking about digital currency and we've been seeing it roll out, and that tells me they just want everybody on one, linear wavelength where they can watch everything now.
Mm-hmm.
There's not going to be any more bypassing, there's not going to be any more scheming where you can, come up that 10K because you did it the wrong way, but you still got the money.
Yeah.
Because there's only going to be one way to do it. And if you do it another way, you will be cheating the system, which now the system is on a grid, and it's not about somebody figuring out you cheated. The system already knows you cheated.
Yeah. Exactly.
And that's
due to
what
the algorithm.
And I think, a lot of people got rich, filthy rich, cheating the system.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And a lot of people who got rich are the people that the rich don't want rich. So now they're going to cut out the possibility of being rich.
I see.
So
yeah,
now,
yeah. The real old
now
money, the real old money.
Exactly. You know, that we're not gonna have people, you know, come out with a rap record and make millions of dollars, and now he got all this money. No, it's not gonna be about that. It's gonna be only the controlled money.
Fact.
And just like how China is now with the social point system.
Oh, I don't know.
Everything's based. Yeah, everything is based on a point system. So your social status is a point system. So let's say the point system is out of 100, and I can only reach up to 5 because I live in poverty. I don't have a good job, so I can't pass that 5. So excuse me. If I can't pass that 5, I can't fly. I can't take trains. I can't shop at the best markets just because my social rating is a 5. But if I was an 85, I can fly. I can take the fastest trains. I can do whatever I want. I can, you know, shop in all supermarkets.
Yeah.
And that's fucked up.
And if you're 95, you could fucking go through without getting security checks, probably, you know? That's even worse.
Go.
Like, shit, that's insane, man. But that's so all that, you know, that Orwellian type of, that's control to the max, man. Like,
yep, that's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is.
And there's going to be no way for that guy to do who's got 5 points socially. It's virtually impossible for him to rake up that extra 80 points, like, and for his children to do it, like, you know, because I'm sure they're not going to. Like,
there's no way to network.
Yeah.
It's because once they see your score, it's not like they're going to say, oh, well, you know what, let me give him a chance. No, your score is your score. And based upon your score is what the answer is going to be. And it's going to be a no.
Right.
So he can't, there's nothing he can do to make himself better.
So even in that, like, see, but firstly, that's a eugenics type wave of mind. Like, the lower class don't deserve to live, right? But then, yeah, absolutely. That's just fucked. And it's like, yeah, like that networking. That's fucked, man.
Yeah,
So that's right. I actually know, like, so when you're saying that he doesn't have the networking, so it'll probably lead him or that person to go the black market route, right? And do the, I guess, illegal thing. You know what I mean? Like, because what's he going to do? Is he going to accept it for his whole life and just say, all right, this is what it is? Or is he going to try and improve his situation for his child? Oh, but they probably, exactly, if you're at 5, you probably can't even have a child either.
But, and I was about to say that too. If you're probably at 5, you probably won't even have access to that.
Yeah. Fact, eh?
Because if you have access to that, there's probably somehow, you know, you can scheme something and make some money off that. They don't want you to make that money. And that's what I think that's going to be coming here soon. They don't want you to make that extra money. They want to give you a certain amount of money, and that's it. That's all you got. Because once they put essential workers down and say only emergency personnel, I'm fucked. All the restaurants are fucked. It's only medical personnel. That's it.
Oh, yeah.
Then when it goes from medical personnel to only military, everybody's fucked.
Yeah. What about do you know many people who are working in clothes shops, like the retail, like that? Like, have they shut down?
They've completely shut down. All retail places have let all their people go. They're all closed. All the malls are closed. Everything is just closed. It's hard to get parking now because everybody has their car parked. Nobody's moving.
Yeah.
You know, you go into some stores and you'll see a good amount of people there, but it's not what New York City was once. You know. You can go anywhere without bumping into people. Now, you know, you can walk a couple blocks and you won't see nobody. And it's very eerie. It's an eerie feeling.
Twisted. That's twisted, man. I've been to New York once and down Broadway and that. We went to Manhattan and Brooklyn, and it was just, as you say, it's like shoulder to shoulder everywhere you go. And to have that, grow up in that, and then 1 month later, it's like, that's like a movie. It's like a, the zombie type movie type situation, kind of.
I swear to God, it's like Walking Dead, bro. I don't know if you ever seen the show.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
It's like the way it started, where they were in the city and everybody there, everybody alive, blah blah blah, and then all of a sudden it's like, where the fuck did everybody go? Like, holy shit!
We gotta come
And what's
get
crazy is, the mayor here in New York, Mayor De Blasio, he's taking down basketball rims off of parks, so people don't come play basketball.
That's stupid, man. That's really stupid. Because I understand, no, I don't understand that at all, really, because that's just kind of oppressive. Because, they should let the people. Oh, okay, wait, because that's gonna bring physical contact, close contact to people. Okay, because they should be allowed to go outside and kick the ball and play, but
kick the ball, throw a football. They should say, if you're gonna play a contact sport, don't play a full game of basketball. You can shoot around with 2 people at most. Because if you're just shooting around, you're more than 6 feet apart. Because somebody got to shoot and somebody got to get the ball.
Yeah, fuck it. And there's
it doesn't have to be a 5-on-5 or a 1-on-1 game. You can play horse, but let the people go outside.
Yeah.
Let them enjoy the park.
And they're going to spend money on sending people out to not let them enjoy the park and take down the hoop. But even there's a J Meyer put in the chat. He's like, they're going to start fining people $1,000 for being out after the curfew. And I think in New South Wales, just one state here that's under lockdown, they're really going to consider doing that. And the haven't done it yet, but the police, the commissioner was on the TV, and I heard him he was going, "Oh, we're thinking about introducing it maybe, and it'll be like $5,000 to $11,000." It's just for if you're outside for a unwarranted reason. That's just crazy.
I got a good friend of mine. She follows Bro Sanchez too, but I don't know her YouTube channel. But we're friends on Facebook. And I don't want to say her name because I don't want to get her in trouble.
Yeah.
And I'm going to explain why too. And she lives in the Bahamas. What the Bahamas is doing between, I think it's 8 and 5 p.m., you can only go to the pharmacy, the grocery store, or the bank.
Right.
And if you're not in those 3 places, the only place you can be is either your backyard or your front yard. Now, after 8 p.m., everything is shut down. Nobody outside, nobody anywhere. If you're caught out after 8 p.m., you can serve, depending on what you're doing, you can serve 18 months in prison or a $10,000 fine.
Shit. Just because of COVID. Oh, God.
Mm-hmm. And I think they're testing that out in smaller markets to see how the people are going to react to that before they start bringing it in places.
Yep. That's been a thought of mine too. And I said that prior in the stream, well, not exactly, but just this whole thing. It's kind of they're laying it out, giving us a sample, a little bit of a taste to see how the population reacts, who does what. So when, they do it in a bigger form, they can have a predicted way that we're going to behave, sort of thing. But
it's all to be put in their models. So when they do their, like you said, their predictive stuff, and they set these things up, where this is right now going into a model, and they're watching how it projects. So when they punch in their numbers, they can get the exponential number and see how big it can actually get.
True, because they've got plan. They've got it. Yeah, it's quite twisted and sick. And we know it, eh?
That's the shit. That's the shit. that we know it. That we know it. And here in New York, if you drive by a hospital, that shit is cool, calm, and collective. Ain't nothing going on in the hospital. But then they're saying that they just fucking dispatched yesterday 21,000 medical employees from out of state to come and help in New York.
What?
And if you go to a hospital, there's nothing going on.
Brother, I just said exactly dead set in the beginning of this stream. I just did it. There was somebody else that much made me get on here to do this like impromptu thing. This guy is an Australian one, but it's showing that like that I showed about. It's got all the news, like the New York news saying, "Oh, it's full up, blah blah blah." People lining up for fucking blocks just to get tested, see if they've got it or they need help. But then you've got people. There's about 3 or 4 people who've gone to these places, waited for like one lady waited for an hour, and there's no one lined up, nobody there. Another guy goes to another, and there's nobody there. But the news report does it, and there's a line, big line of people and shit, like it's
Bro,
a bit
I have
suspect.
a friend of mine. I have a lot of people who work in the medical industry, right? And can I be long-winded for like 5 minutes? Because it all ties into this shit. So I have a good friend of mine. She used to work in a restaurant with me. Now she works in the medical industry. Now she believes wholeheartedly in the shit. She thinks it's real, blah, blah, blah. So she complains and says, yeah, her hospital's busy. A lot of people coming in. She got sick 2 days ago, right? The hospital told her, don't come in. Don't come to work if you're sick. Stay home. Instead of come in, let us test you and let us see what you got and then see what we can do for you. They tell her to stay home. She stays home for a day, can't take it, goes to the ER. They put her in one of those makeshift tents, right? And she's taking video and pictures of it. There is nothing in those tents. There's only one person. It's just her in a big ass tent by herself. And you would think there will be multiple people in there that are sick because they need the room to house all these people that they're saying is coming in. Right? The shit is completely empty. And I fight with her all the time on Facebook about how fake this shit is, right? Yeah. Now, I watch a lot of videos of people going to hospitals and they're not busy. You don't see the lines. They walk up to where the tents are. Nobody's in there. All empty. Right? Now, my cousin, he's a radiologist. And that benefits me as somebody who's into the truth movement with the 5G.
Right.
So him being a radiologist, I asked him yesterday. I was like, yo, bro, I got a serious question to ask you. I go, when you at work, you know what's a Geiger meter, right?
I've heard of it, but explain it.
Yeah, it measures radiation.
Okay, yeah.
A lot of people who work in that work in medical industries that deal with chemotherapy patients and all stuff with that or any type of radiation, they have to always carry a Geiger meter on them, so it can always measure the radiation that's going around them, so they can be safe as well in the hospital, right?
Yeah.
I asked him, I was like, are you guys carrying your Geiger meters? He said only the doctors and the medical technicians are carrying them, but they don't carry them no more. They keep them locked in a safe, and they only use them when they have to measure something. They don't have them on all the time no more. So that tells me that if they don't have it on all the time no more, it's because radiation got boosted, and they don't want medical personnel to notice that.
Yeah.
Then I saw. I don't mean to interrupt you. Then I saw a video on Instagram where a medical technician was explaining how they took away his Geiger meter. So now when he comes to work, now when he comes to work, they'll issue the Geiger meter when necessary. So he no longer walks around with his Geiger meter to measure the radiation to ensure that he's safe.
Wow. That's insane.
Lastly,
Yeah.
my kid's mom works. She's a nurse. This is the one that tops it all. She's a nurse, and she deals with people who got COVID-19. Right?
Wow.
I asked her yesterday. I said, "Listen, when you're checking people out, are you checking for radiation?" She gave me the look like if I pulled out shit from my ass and started eating it. If I was fucking retarded. She was like, "Why the fuck would we check for radiation?" And I was like, damn. You're in the medical field and you're asking me this question?
Yeah. Fuck.
And that's what's solidifying this more of 5G for me.
That the information ain't getting out, and yeah, to the people. I don't know, because my parents too, the same. Like my mother and sister. Like my mom's retired now, but she worked her whole like in the nursing field, and my sister's in the same. So they kind of are going with what the medical system says, because that's how they were. But to see that's pretty crazy to see that. What is the Geiger meter? Are they those things that basically when you go to a nuclear someplace that's like a nuclear waste, and you see those people in the suits and they've got that machine and it goes the higher the radiation is? It's all probably not that thing, but it's similar. It just measures the radiation.
Well, yeah, you got different ones. The one that you can hear it. I think it measures only I think a certain frequency. But the Geiger meter, there's small ones or like handheld ones, and they'll measure like the hertz. I believe it's the hertz that are around you.
Yeah.
Something like that. And the small ones they have for hospital people to carry on them for the radiation that's around them, so you can measure it. Wow. And the nuclear people, yeah, they carry them too. So when they go on their testing sites, they can test it as well.
That is scary, man, because that's like that's like hertz is frequencies about cycles per seconds, right? Like I mean that's audio. It's hertz and like a lot of different things, but but then it's like just to see that if they're on such a high like a high frequency where they don't want these doctors to be aware of it or whatever, and it's just. And I've heard the 5G, how penetrating it can be. There's that talk of it's really able to, to kind of, it's really able to penetrate the human cells on a really deep basis, and interfere with how we're supposed to work, so.
Mm-hmm.
That's really sad. I mean, obviously, some people, and as you said, but people have got this COVID and they're not, they can't. I mean, a lot of people have got it, but they're able to pass through. They're able to. What's the word? Their immune system is not failing. And they're not.
Yeah, they're able to recover for it. What the question that I ask myself is, the places that are hit hard, I know is where they're turning on the 5G, but the places that are like really hit hard, where people are saying that hospitals are crowded, is the 5G tower closer to there, where it's affecting the people there more, so they can see what happens? Or is it affecting the people more so that they can get their media coverage, so that they're able to get their film to put it on TV? You get what I'm saying?
Yep. That's right. If they don't have that, how are they going to push the narrative?
Exactly.
Completely. I mean, and then even I was just responding to a comment here. There's Eddie Machete said, all the homeless people are not sick, and even again to that point, if you replay this, or if you're not to say it was just weird because it got me onto this thing, and there's a picture. Most of them were in America, but there was a last one in the UK with basically this two suited up in these complete infection suits coming to place like letters underneath the houses of all the tenants, right, in this building, saying
I saw that.
yeah, how he died, and she was like, no, we just saw him 5 minutes ago, and all this stuff like that. So, you know, that's pretty crazy to that point. And it's pretty
that's true.
evident.
Nah, and you're right about what Eddie Machete said. Like in New York, there's a shit ton of homeless people, man. And I don't see homeless people convulsing on the floor and dropping dead, and I haven't even seen a homeless person cough.
And like they would be, I mean, people might argue their immune system is dealing with so much already. I mean, you know, that's why it's so strong. But they would be the ones to be in very close contact too, I'd guess, to a lot of people.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And if that were the case, and if we were in such a lockdown, they would round up all the homeless people.
Yeah. Has there been any talk? What's the talk of that? They don't care about them. Probably. There's no talk of it.
Bro, I'll be 100% with you. I haven't heard one thing about the homeless.
Well,
the only thing that I've heard, and not even pertaining to the homeless, is that they're talking about switching nursing homes, shelter homes into quarantine places. So they're gonna make all these people lose their housing, replace them somewhere in their discomfort to now start quarantining people. And then check this out. I don't know if you heard about the 4 ships that they sent over here. No, the 2 ships and the shipping yard, and I think it's a stadium that they're using as a quarantine area. They're sending non-COVID patients there.
What?
That don't make sense.
Yeah. So I'm like, what? To do what? Just to...
I have fucking no... Yo, bro, New York, every day, the news is, like, retarded. Like, the things that are being said, like, when the governor comes on and he starts making his speech, he starts saying things, and you're just like, what? Like, last night, it just came out on the news that one of the hospitals needed 5 emergency ventilators, and the 5 that they sent don't work. But there were 5 brand new ones.
Fucking hell, yeah. Wow.
And then they saying that we're trying to get ventilators from across the country, but Cuomo just got caught with 100,000 ventilators supposedly in a stockpile. And you know what he said?
Yeah.
He said, we need those for emergency.
I heard something like, because I heard the governor say things like it's getting to the situation where states are trying to like outbid each other just for these ventilators and stuff, you know?
And there you go. Now the capitalism is happening now.
In between.
If I'm Georgia and you're New York, and South Carolina says, hey, I got 5 for $10, and I tell you, yo, I got 6 for $10.
Yeah.
You're gonna go for that 6.
Yeah. But it's kind of the other way. They're going, all right, we got 1. We know you all want it. It's, you know, this guy's offering me 100, but this guy's offering me 150. So
yeah.
In that bidding war, that's insane. So, well, what was the one that had 100? Who did you say? That they got caught with 100, and they said that it was for emergency.
Here in New York.
Was it like just a person or?
The governor, Andrew Cuomo.
Oh wow! Okay.
He's the one that's begging for more.
Shit.
He's the one that he's talking about that they're gonna start splitting ventilators. 2 people per ventilator.
Wow. Man, that's insane. So I just like, you know, the guy that he was just, see, that's even like shows you the farcical nonsense that's going on. He's on television. He's on television in a media press conference telling everybody this situation is getting out of hand. Fucking, we're having to bid state by state against each other. And I'm in Australia. I hear this on a little snippet, and I believe it. And then I just go impromptu stream, and I hear from a New Yorker that, like, you know, he got caught hoarding 100 of these things, and he's acting like, oh man, it's a crisis. We don't have enough. We don't have enough money and all this shit. When he's really dogging everyone.
And I don't know if you know about the governor here. You know his brother Chris Cuomo. He has that show on CNN, the primetime shit.
Nah. Oh wait, or maybe I might have seen it, but yeah, I'm not sure.
Well, supposedly he's got COVID-19 now, and he's supposedly quarantined in his basement. And while the governor, his brother, was on a press conference, he called into the press conference to do a live show. And the caption was, Chris Cuomo, Andrew Cuomo's brother, chips tooth from shivering so hard from the COVID-19 disease or sickness. When now check this out, when they show him talking and he smiles, his teeth are perfect. So I'm like, yo, come on. Like, and the people don't see this shit. I'm like, the caption is he chips his tooth because of shivering, but every time he smiles, y'all don't notice he has a perfect white pearly smile with no chips.
Yeah, like, I mean, I'm just thinking they could cap it pretty easily before he gets on to the TV. But if that was the case, wouldn't they want to accentuate that and have him on there with a cracked smile? You know, like a cracked tooth, so everyone would be like shocked. But they couldn't because he didn't probably crack his tooth.
He did it. And they're saying he's sick and he looked fine.
Yeah.
Fine. Everybody that they show that they say they're sick and they this and they that, they'll say today, he got sick with it 2 days ago. So supposedly if he's convulsing and having fevers and all this sick, he should have bags under his eyes. His skin tone should be a little discolored. Like, you should show symptoms. But these motherfuckers look fine.
Right. And they're acting happy. They don't seem distressed or more stressed. I don't know.
Yeah. And I'm not gonna lie. If I get sick, I'm a big baby when I'm sick. If I catch a little cold, I need give me a nurse. Give me somebody to nurse me back to life off of a cold. If people catching COVID-19 and they're fine like this, and they're talking about they're deathly sick,
true.
That doesn't make sense.
That's pretty true. I can understand that point. Like, I mean, I'm like, when you get really the flu really hard, you want, you do need help, man. A lot of the time, like, because you don't have the energy to go and do things. Unfortunately, if you're on your own, then you got to go and do things. But it makes it so much easier. It helps when you've got somebody to cook, or so you can just rest and get better and shit like that, and like all around. But yeah, that seems strange. I mean, I've heard of these things like celebrities getting it. Boris Johnson. I mean, same thing, and I do think that too. Like, I mean, I haven't seen anybody, and touch wood, like, I don't know, like, I haven't seen anybody who's contracted it, and I haven't seen a dead body either. And even just before, like, because it was the stream, like, if you replay this afterwards, like, you'll see that this guy did the thing, and he was showing, like, this military guy, 2 ambulance guys with masks, and they've got this guy on a stretcher, or it's something on a stretcher, supposed to be dead, a supposed dead victim. But then if you look at it closely, you can clearly see it's a mannequin. Like, it's crazy. Wow. Yeah. Like, so I don't know how, like, because that's the thing. I'm thinking, like, where are the people who have passed it away? Like, I haven't seen anybody like that yet. After all these things, it's like every day 300 more deaths around the world or whatever. But I don't see any video footage of funerals or people crying, even families crying. Like, wouldn't there be more families?
You would think so. Even more now that we're on lockdown, you would think a family. Check this out. If now let's say I had a family member die of this, right? I'm gonna go live on Facebook and, you know, speak my pain about how I can't bury the person, I can't see them for a final time, that I, you know, things like that. You would think you would see that on Facebook. Confessionals. Now, now that we're more on lockdown because you can't go out, so who are you gonna express this to? You want to reach your whole family? You're not gonna make a conference call to talk to your whole family. What do people do now? This is the digital age. People make a video, post it on Facebook so that everybody can see it in their family. And you don't even see that.
That's right. I mean, that is right. Hey, that's completely. I mean, we just come up. That's a huge point. Like, I mean, you should see that thing. I mean, just I'll get off it first. Not. I mean, it's on the same thing. But I was on another stream earlier today, and this lady Coleman was saying like people should take this opportunity to that. Now that we're on lockdown, it's like a lot of people are stressed out and stuff. But take the time to call that relative that you don't see usually, like you haven't seen in 6 months or something like that, because it should be about getting close to your family and stuff like that, because family is like ultimately at the end of the day the closest bond, really, you know, like they're the ones that count. And so this is, you know, that this could be another, this is the time, because when we're all on lockdown, just do it. And so that's this one I'll put out there, so you know, if you haven't spoken to someone, because it'll help them, it'll help you, and you'll feel better. But as we're just saying, like, how come it's, you know, it is strange that's really, 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 really strange that I haven't seen one interview with a person that like has lost their partner or their parent or their child, you know, like to this COVID. That's crazy, man. I haven't seen one. And then through this, you would think, as you just said, people would be posting on like Facebook because they're on lockdown. They can't talk to anyone, so they're like, well, you know, I want to get it out. And that's just what people do anyway nowadays. They just post whatever their emotions, like what they're having for lunch or whatever. So if somebody died, they'll be really upset. And nobody's done it. Or maybe there has been, and I just haven't seen it, but like, so, I mean, because because there's been people, and that's another actual, in the beginning, there's like something from Italy was saying that every death now, if some, like, it was a little, like a PowerPoint thing, and it was basically describing like, just say there's a terminally ill cancer patient in the hospital in Italy. So he was gonna die of cancer, right? And then he caught COVID and then passed away. But he would like, they're saying that all causes of death now are going to like getting tallied up as COVID, whereas it's like,
yeah, that's very true. I saw that. I saw something like that. I was reading. I forgot where it was. I was reading about that, where it was saying that all they just basing all causes of death on COVID, whatever it was. When the outbreak first started here in New York, a doctor supposedly caught it and he died. But it was funny because on the video, when they're introducing the doctor who died from it, they were saying Dr. such and such, now check this out, who had severe asthma, died of COVID-19. So if this motherfucker got severe asthma, a flu would just wipe his ass out. It wasn't the COVID-19.
It was
a flu.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
He had severe asthma. So he had an underlying issue. And then when Andrew Cuomo talks and makes a speech, he says we need to protect all the old people. So listen what he says, all the young people between age 50 and 65 need to be very, very careful. Everybody else, you're okay. He says 80% of you will not have anything. We're just worried about the 10%. So why the fuck are we on lockdown?
Right, it should be only that 50 to 65 category on lockdown, right?
That's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you know the UK dropped COVID-19 as a damn, I forgot what it is. HCID. I forgot the whole.
Yeah, are really harmless. It's not as harmful. That's right, kind of thing. Is that it? Yeah, it's not as serious as they've claimed it to be.
Exactly.
They've dropped it a category or two. Yeah, crazy.
That and nobody in America saying shit
about that, true. Because I did see something like that, and it is a HCID or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, maybe. Well, because what I see over here, a little bit, is they're saying that the Democratic Party are the ones saying it's really bad, but what's like Trump saying? Is he saying it's like real or it's a hoax?
Trump is saying the same thing, and the Democratic Party is pushing it only because of the stimulus, because now they're getting money.
Oh, okay, I see. All right.
That's why they're pushing it so hard.
Okay.
That's why it's saying they're saying it's so bad, it's insane, blah blah blah. Is because and that's why the first stimulus got pushed away because of the Democrats.
All right. But
they
now
couldn't side with the Republicans.
Yeah. I didn't
and
see.
New York
We had stimulus over here, but keep going. How's it going over there?
No, you know they're talking about the stimulus checks won't come in for like maybe another 15 weeks.
Okay. Yeah.
So we've already been almost a month in this shit. Not a month. We got 2 weeks into this. So we're talking about another 15 weeks for people who lost their job 2 weeks ago. I think by next week they're gonna be kind of hungry.
Nah, no joke, man. Absolutely. That's not a laughing matter. That's a similar thing that happened here. The government did a bit of a bailout to people lost their jobs, all these different things, but it took some people haven't got it, and they're gonna do 2 or something, but it took like a few weeks. I don't think it was as bad as 15 weeks, but some people haven't. It'll take about 6 weeks for people to start getting money. So that is pretty hard.
But the thing with the money is, let's say we go on a total lockdown. So you can only receive the money in 2 ways. If you get in a check, you can't cash it. You can't go out. Everything's closed. There's nowhere to cash it. The only way they can do it is to put it in your bank account.
Yeah.
But
that's how they've done it here. It's going directly into the bank.
What if, and this is a big what if, this is just, throwing it out there. What if through all these lockdowns, now they just make the Federal Reserve, which is everybody's bank, now be the only bank? It won't be the Bank of America, the Chase, the Citibanks, the JP Morgans. It won't be that. It'll just be the Federal Reserve, and that's where everybody gets their money from, which is still now, in the grand scale where everything is coming from, but now it's just from one place now as a digital currency.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then now everybody's just being fed by one route. There's no other route to go.
Yeah, it would monopolize the people who are the ones, holding that digital. And even in saying that, like my brother's in corporate banking, and he's a long time ago, I remember him saying it's just like it's all just numbers, it's just so not in obviously or something, but it's just like to add another 0 if you've got 6 there, and you just press another one, it's just that can make a huge difference, where these guys are just sitting behind computers pushing in digits, like data.
Yeah.
And it's kind of crazy. And then to have that go on and just say it does monopolize into one sort of a corporation, one federal thing that's just going to have all all the say on what's what about value of the money. Fuck, you'd either want to be on work for that place or just actually no. I don't want any of that at all. Like that's insane. Because that's just it's definitely going to cause bias. Too much, it's going to go on.
A lot of Americans are not realizing is if we do this stimulus, right? So that means we got to borrow that money from somewhere, right? Even though it is our own money, that's the money we've been raped from our taxes. But they're gonna say they have to borrow that money from the Federal Reserve. So that money is coming out on interest. So if you're borrowing $1.2 trillion, even at a fucking 2% interest, you're still talking about a couple $1 trillion. And in order to create money, you got to create debt. And if that money is coming to us, that's just more debt.
Yeah, exactly. Because people are, I guess a little bit the information is getting out, but they don't realize how, the actual currency does come in,
Mm-hmm.
They got to pay it back to this Federal Reserve.
Got to pay it back. And let's say, hypothetically, in 6 months, shit goes normal. Taxes are going to go so motherfucking high to get this money back that we got to pay back.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, right. And then so that in itself will the people who are on the lower end of the income, it's just going to make it even worse, that divide. Like it's as you just were talking about before, it's removing there's no longer a middle class. And so if the taxes get higher, the people who are on like really high wages, they'll be able to afford to pay that tax, but then the people on the lower wages, they get high taxes, it's going to cause them to be like even more struggling on their week to week basis life, because their check at the end of the week is going to be even less, and they're still going to have to feed their family, and that's just going to cause that divide to go greater. That's obvious, man. That's quite, for me to just that's what I think, and for me to sit here and just think that, like, and I'm sure a lot of people do think the same sort of thing. It's just, it kind of sickens me to think that bankers can think, or corporations can think, and even politicians, that all the masses of society think that, like, it's okay to think about the bottom line. Like, these guys can make profit, like, make the dollar over the person. You know what I mean? Like it's just crazy. Like, to think, oh, he had the idea to make a business and go out there and do it, and no, never mind. It was at the expense of 100 other people and their families. Like,
exactly.
I don't know. I mean, you could gripe about that a lot, and that divide ain't going nowhere. It's growing, bro. Like, and as you said, like the middle class, and it's that's kind of, as I said, that I heard that in the stream last year or something, that that's kind of the plan. It's just going to be this the rulers, and then the haves and the have-nots, but then the haves will just keep getting smaller and smaller and monopolize, where the have-not pool will just be huge, because even as it is, the elites like need the a labor force which is like at least double to triple the size of what they are, to keep the level of, to keep their living standard as it is. So if they are able to, like, even decrease the size of that high level income, and then just make the rest, so it's only like that 1% or whatever it is, and that 99% this is fully poor, not fully poor, but just that week to week, then it's just going to be a sad situation.
Yeah.
I don't even, I wouldn't even want it. It's just, fuck, I'd be living off the land, man. But then, yeah, shit, like, you can't even, I suppose you can't think of what's it going to be like. Is it going to be like, what's that, Oh, what's that fucking movie that? Oh man, where they go and kill it, like hunting game or something. What's it called?
Oh, the Hunger Games. You know what's funny? While you were
Yeah.
talking here before I got on, you were talking a whole bunch of stuff, and that's what I was thinking about. Like this is gonna turn into that. That's crazy that you say.
Fact, man. That's like, well, that's what it kind of, if you look at it and you try and you roll it out and keep it going, what does it go to? It goes to that. Like, it goes to this little bit of kind of really top class that just look completely think nothing of the rest of society, and they got to fucking struggle real hard. But anyway, let's fucking hope not for that. And just peace and bless. It's just fucking, I'm sure things aren't gonna get like better within the click of a hat. Like, not even better, but just back to sort of some sort of normality within the next couple months. It's gonna take. We're gonna be in this situation. Even probably gonna get a lot worse in the next for it to get better within, say, 6 months. But all you can do is just continue to be strong as you can, be as smart as you can, I guess, be as clean and as safe as possible, stress as little as possible. Continue to do what you want, be yourself as much as you can, and just kind of hope for the best, man, and that's it. Reach out for the loved ones and fucking look after your loved ones, man.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Use common sense. Have respect and shit. Like, I don't know, like, just, just, if you want to, that's pretty much it. Just do that. Just do what you want, like, I won't take it any further. Because everybody's got their own way of de-stressing and unwinding and relaxing. But just try and take that time to do whatever it is that makes you happy in a way, Could be watching the birds, it could be drawing, could be, making music, or even just having a drink or something, like, just, or eating something, that a specific dish. Do that. It'll make it,
Yeah,
gotta stay happy.
Yeah,
You
that,
can't
that,
be
that
thinking
you
negative.
gotta take a positive mindset, even though there's so much negativity around. Because, like you said, that stress is a motherfucker, and stress will
Mm-hmm.
take you down faster than any COVID-19 would ever do in anybody's life.
Yep.
Stress is number one, and that's what they're doing to the population. They're putting us under extreme stress, to build up these sicknesses, because they know that's what the human body can't take is stress. We're not built for that.
Yep. And once, that's it. Once you get that sickness and you're stressing out, it's just gonna mount up, and the pace gets quicker. Like, I really, really believe that. That's why I'm so chilled. Like, I like to be, because, like, stress is really, like, it is. I believe it's the worst. It could probably cause cancer. You could think yourself to have it, kind of thing.
Absolutely, bro.
You
I've
stress
had
yourself
stress
into it.
breakdowns, and after having them, I learned to just, just stay as calm as possible. That's another reason why sometimes me and my kid's mom argue, because she thinks that I don't care. And it's not that I don't care. It's just I'm not gonna bring that energy level up.
Yep,
I'm gonna
I get it.
maintain it down. So one, that I can think clearly, and two, I don't excite my body over a conversation.
Yeah,
And that's why I think is where the thinking clearing, you have to think clearing comes in. You got to
exactly.
realize your situation. You don't have to fucking get irate and all excited if you're sitting down having a conversation.
That's right. Mentally unstable. That's exactly what I was thinking. And you just said you'll think uh, clearer. With more clarity, you'll have your thoughts. Like, because you're focused, you're more mentally stable, you're balanced, you're relaxed, you're in your zone instead of high blood pressure, just like you can flip and, like, what's the word, be overreact and do something you'll regret later. Just,
Absolutely.
chill out. But what time you got over there? What are you doing for the day? I'm gonna cut out pretty soon, probably go. But
10 over here. I got work in an hour and a half.
got
Gotta go.
through that. Fucking you don't know, eh? It's pretty unexpected. It's like it's busy, but it's not really busy.
Yeah, it's the ones where it'll get busy for like an hour and then it'll be dead for like 2. Then
Okay.
busy again, then dead. It's like an on and off switch.
So you got the regulars there, but it's Friday there too, eh? So it's supposedly the busier day. But do you have that Friday as a busier day, or they're all the
Yeah,
same?
when it was when it was dining, but now that everything is just the same every day, it really doesn't matter what it is anymore. Everything is just the same, because there's no, you don't have that expectation or a bunch of people. It's Friday night, people are gonna be coming out. There's nowhere to
Yeah.
go. Everything's
Okay.
closed. Everybody's homes. It's just regular. Friday is like a Monday now.
Yeah, they're all. That's right. I didn't really think because Fridays you'd have that unexpected table of 10 or whatever, or and shit like that.
And a lot of people are actually cooking. You'd be surprised.
That's good. I think that's a good thing, right?
Yeah.
Personally, like, I mean, you know, that's my personal opinion. Anyway, I enjoy my cooking and shit like that. So people eating out, yeah, it's fun, but to do it on a every meal basis, I wouldn't advise that. But a lot of people do.
Bad for you.
Say what?
Yeah, like if you eat out every day, that's too expensive and that's bad for you.
Yeah, like, I mean, even if it kind of like, even if you were to really have the top top of the line, like, $100 meals, I'm sure that, or maybe it's still um, not as healthy as if you prepared it yourself, or maybe not. I'm not sure. Actually, not the $100 meal is going to be far, but like maybe that the $30 meal is definitely like fast food. You think it's nice, you think it's great, but it's like still unhealthy to have that every day.
One thing I learned working in restaurants, it's not always like the picture.
Yeah, bro. Right. Not at
Man,
all, like, especially that, like, the produce. You deal with good produce and use that, but then exactly how you see a picture of some advertised TV thing and then you actually get it, or you see the menu and like the little, what do you call it, the advertisement, and then like you get it, that's not it. It doesn't look anything like it. But food's food. You gotta eat. You gotta stay hydrated. Stay hydrated. That's the main thing. Eat fruit. Get your fruit in. But yeah, bro. Probably get out of here on the tizzle tip. I've been here a couple of hours. Much chill. Much thanks for coming up and chatting, bro. I hope your day is good. And fucking, shit just rocks out. But as we said, we just, times are going to continue. So everybody just keep your head up and much, obviously, peaceful vibes to everybody in here, especially, and mainly, like, just muchly to you, Raphael, bro. Like, it's like, just hope we all stay well and all our loved ones stay well, man. That's my main thing, really. That's my main vibe. I just want no one to be affected by this bullshit. I mean, we're all affected, but I mean, infected, I guess.
No, you're right though. Yeah, I'm on the
Yeah.
same. I'm on the same wave like you. Just everybody stay positive. Stay level minded. Think clearly. Don't make judgment or pass judgment without thinking. Don't make a decision without thinking. Don't listen to nobody without thinking. Just think on what's going on and everything, and make your own discernment that's best for you and your family. And just stay positive. Don't get stressed, even though we're in stressful moments. And if you see somebody that's stressed, try to, you know, help them calm their stress down, because they need that. They need to be calm too. So we can all get on this wavelength and all think together and get through this shit together.
That's it, bro. Couldn't have said it better, brother. That's it, man. So yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that.
All right, so, my brother. Thank you for having me, man. I appreciate it. Stay safe and keep your family safe, bro.